Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our NASCAR San Diego Naval Base Coronado Truck Race stream. We're going to be covering the race here, showing highlights as they happen. And move my visor up. I go colorblind when I have this thing on. There we go. All the red colors disappear. He's right, though. He's right. Hypothetically. So today's race, I think, is 50 laps long. So what are the odds that we run 25 green flag laps? That would require us running, what, less than 2 cautions for cause? Because you're going to have 2 stage breaks. That's probably going to take up at least 3 to 4 laps apiece. And then if we get a few cautions, that puts us at 3 to 4 laps under caution. Again, that would get us to 12. That would be 38. So I don't know. What are the chances we get to 25 green flag laps? Jimmy about to dominate? I mean, qualified, or I don't know. Did they qualify? They were on track early this morning. I didn't see practice or if they qualified. I did see some pictures of the trucks on track, and then I did watch Cup practice. You hit your quota. Your quota for what exactly? So last weekend I was at a local race. I don't think I'll be able to go tomorrow because the O'Reilly race will probably run late, if I had to guess. Yeah, tomorrow's race doesn't start till 4. Probably be like a 2 to 2.5 hour race. I don't know, maybe. Stacy, that thing that I said was in my sinus just came out. And my goodness, do I feel better. That was awful. That was actually awful. It felt like a tiny piece. It was a big piece. That was awful. So I was at my local short track last Saturday. Could go again this Saturday, but I found out there's a dirt track about 30 miles south of town. So I might try to find wherever that is. And it's a 3/8 dirt track. So they run like late models and stuff there. Looks pretty cool. So I may go check it out sometime in the next few weeks. I know this weekend that local asphalt short track is running a benefit for, I think, children's leukemia or something. So that's good. Supports a good cause. But at the dirt track, you're able to buy pit tickets if you want them. I think it's like $15, $20 to get in, and it's like $50 for a pit ticket, which is cool. It was really fun. Not sure I'll be able to stream there. Elite Precision just responded to one of my tweets on Twitter. Cool guy. He's a cool guy. I hope he's in the stream car this year. So next Friday starts our stream car series. So if there are truck races going on during the stream car races, I'm not going to be able to cover the truck races. Or maybe I can just take a week off. I don't know. Maybe they'll let me part-time. I don't know the schedule yet, so I don't know what tracks to practice. I need to ask about that because I don't want to wreck anybody. or run too far off the pace. Hey, I was not part of this, Stacy. I was a participant. I was a participant of, or I was a spectator. If anything, I'm also the victim here. Good to see Jimmy back out on track. Let's look through our running order. So one thing you'll notice, we do not have Cup guys in the field. Great to see Parker Kligerman back. I saw a good shot of him getting air. All 4 tires off the ground. And I'm wondering how that's going to play out on Sunday. I think we're going to see a broken toe link from somebody getting air over the course of the race and breaking one of their toe links. And it's going to be wild. Jamie McMurray in the field, that's right, and the 25 Ram. Cole Butcher, not a great start. Frankie Muniz, 27th. So this is interesting. We know that 33 truck doesn't have a lot of speed, to be honest. But Frankie has a GT racing background. So the road courses might actually play into his favor. The only downside is he's stuck further back in traffic around a lot of guys who may not know how to handle their faster cars. So Frankie could get involved in someone else's incident, but it's it'll be interesting to see how he does over the course of the race. And then we have Justin Marks, another big one to point out, and then Adam Andretti. So we do have some big names in the field, even though the full-time Cup guys aren't allowed. Jimmy, former Cup guy. Parker, maybe he ran some Cup races for a back marker. I can't recall. Probably did, but he has tons of experience. Corey LaJoy, former Cup guy. Justin Haley, former Cup guy. Jamie McMurray, obviously former Cup guy. Brendan Gaughan in the field. So even though we don't have our full-time Cup guys, we still have a very stout field of trucks. Caden Honeycutt in that 11 up front. Corey Heim was turning really good laps in Cup practice. I gave in. I'm not a fighter, Stacy. The next 2 weeks, trucks are off. That's going to help the stream car stuff for sure. This is going to destroy these cars. Yeah, I think the trucks and the O'Reilly guys will be pretty safe with the bumps, but the Cup cars may not make it. I'm not sure they're going to make it. Yeah, so usually Frankie Muniz's good weekends, you know, when he finishes up here in the top 30, it's because like 10 guys end up in the garage and he just stays safe. He hardly ever causes an incident. It's not unheard of, but it's pretty rare. Usually he's able to bring the truck home clean, which, you know, for being a backmarker team, for starting racing at this level this late in life, that's pretty impressive. That's about all you can ask. Cleaner than Cletus. Let's take a look at J-Ski and see what they say about today's race. We don't have to look at their radar this weekend, more than likely. I want to say that for sure yet. So this is J-Ski, Navy 250, forged by the sea. Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth race. Late start time because it is a West Coast event. And then stages 12 laps in, 12 laps in, and 26 laps in, even though we're going to run a ton of caution laps. So the second stage will probably be like 8 laps long. And then the third stage will probably be about 20 laps long. Maybe like 21. Purse, 789,000. Not bad. 5 trucks failed to complete a qualifying lap after an incident and sustained damage in either earlier practice session or qualifying forced a missed attempt. During practice, session was halted for water on track. I saw they had water draining across the track. So they had to red flag that practice session. Justin Marks had a crash. Interesting. His truck caught on fire. I didn't see that. So a lot going on there. Throughout practice, let's look at J-Ski. Let's go over to our live leaderboard on NASCAR.com. Oh, no, it's still the wrong one. Let's refresh. There we go. Got my points. And we are good to go. Yeah, I just checked it on the website. The website's actually easier for me to check in on. What did Christian say? I see it got blocked. I'm clicking show. Another moderator handled this? Is King here? Anyway, he said he's calling it. We're going to have at least one crash this weekend out of turn 16 where someone is going to bounce off the wall back into traffic and wreck a handful of cars and trucks. Yeah, that's a really good prediction for this street circuit. Very possible. You know, we've seen it in all kinds of different series, stadium trucks, IndyCar, Formula One. Doesn't matter. If you go to a street circuit where there's no runoff and, you know, you're in between two concrete walls, you're usually going to get a big stack up at some point. Maybe not always with those open wheel series, but it is very easy to have happen. Am I doing the Coronado base military stream? We are. We're not. We don't show the race live. We show highlights, and we follow along with our leaderboard here. But if you do need someone to watch the race live, just let me know. We can give you instructions on how to find it. And let me double check and see if that's still working. Schedule FS1. Yep, it is up and running. So if you need a place to watch, just let us know. Myself or anyone in chat can probably help you with that. We all know the website by now, but good to have you here at least for a little bit, Sean. Man, Justin Marks just cooked it. I hope they have a backup truck. I guess they do. He's still in the... Oh my... He's still in the running order. A lot of trouble in practice. I missed a lot. That is wild. All right, trucks are on track rolling. We're about to get underway here. What's the website? I got you, Blazed. So, follow these instructions that are about to be posted in chat. So, the Stream Elements bot, follow the instructions it just posted. Just Google that phrase there. Go to that website, click on schedule. And there should be a link to the race. You'll just click on FS1 and it'll pull it open. And it's hardly any delay at all. Great way to watch pretty much every NASCAR race. And even IndyCar races. Great website. So enjoy the race, Blazed. Good to see you, King. Good to see you. Jamie McMurray. I hope he does well. Oh, Mikey's just happy to be working still. Man, Clint, it's unfortunate that he finished 29th at Dover. He was on track to have a top 20 finish. Jimmy starting 4th, that's what it looks like. I missed practice and qualifying, so I'm not sure what happened. I was just catching up on some highlights. Several trucks to the back of the pack after damage. I think Connor Mozak may be one of those going to the rear. So even before the race starts, this running order will change quite a bit. A lot of trucks to the back. Your eyes continuing to heal up. That's good. That's good. King and I were talking about that just a couple days ago. I knew you had a procedure coming up, so I hope that went well. A bull ride? That's what they're wagering? That's funny. 10 trucks crashed or had damage and had to go to backups after practice and qualifying earlier. That's what Kristen said. That is wild. Yeah, Brennan Gaughan to the rear, Eckes to the rear, Marks to the rear, Daniel Hemrick to the rear, Adam Andretti, Brendan Queen, Tanner Gray, all to the rear. Good night. Yeah, the Trackhouse owner. Interesting to see him out there. Racing for Spire, too. When's the last time we've had a team owner race for another team? I mean, obviously we have Denny. But this is a different scenario. He's a full-time owner of Trackhouse. Not a full-time driver. And he's making a start for Spire. I know, like, all the major Chevy teams, have an alliance in the lower series. That's really interesting. Surgery, well, that's really good to hear, Michael. I have a buddy dealing with not something exactly similar, but his eyes are breaking down pretty quickly. And he has glaucoma. He's only a few years older than I am. Christian says turn 16 and 4 will be the trouble spots. Second spot is basically straightaway. Trackhouse so bad, even Justin Marks doesn't want to drive for them. Possibly. Good to see you, Doodlebug. So we don't have a full field today. 35 trucks on our leaderboard. That's, I guess, due to Jimmy taking up the one truck. Tanner Gray, Stuart Friesen, Justin Marks, and Eckes all to backups. Trucks with wall contact during practice and qualifying. It's about half the field. 6. Yeah, I mean, that's about half the field they just showed having contact to the wall. Darkset says, are his eyes deceiving him? Jimmy Johnson, P4. That is correct. Should be 36. Timmy Hill with Drew. He's on an actual special ops mission for the Navy. There we go. San Francisco off in the distance. Now, San Francisco, it's known for its good weather, having perhaps the most pleasant weather in the continental United States year-round. But there was actually an outbreak of a misting. It wasn't really rain, but it was like a heavy mist. I think it was yesterday. So whenever NASCAR's in town, they bring the weather with them. And if NASCAR was able to bring some kind of precipitation to San Diego, we have accomplished something. I saw a little bit of that race, Darkside. That was over on, I think, Forza, right? Stage lengths are laughable. Yeah, I mean, so this first one's going to be allegedly a 12 lap. You know, we don't know if we're going to get cautions. But if we get like 1 or 2 cautions in one of these first couple stages, we're going to run 2 green flag laps at the most. 2 out of the whole stage. Because the first one's 12. The second one's also 12, but we're going to run probably 3 to 4 caution laps after the first stage ends. So that means the second stage is only going to be about 8 laps long, barring any other cautions. Then we have another stage caution coming out at the end of lap 24. And then we're going to run 3 to 4 caution laps, perhaps. And have like a 20-lap stage. I don't know if we're going to get 25 green flag laps. That's the wager. Do you think we're going to get more than 25 green flag laps or less than 25? Jimmy, not a great start, but he's going to settle into 4th here. So he held his position, but that was not a great launch for him. Really shallow entry here to the inside. So he's on the inside. Jimmy might take... Yeah, Jimmy looks like he's going to take 3rd here. He has the preferred groove through this corner. And he's clear. Jimmy Johnson to 3rd. And we're side by side for the front. Caden Honeycutt and Lane Riggs are side by side. One of the trucks may have been... I thought I saw water coming out. Maybe on that 34 truck? I don't know what I was seeing. Are there any other shockers up here? I hope Parker does well. I'll be watching Parker throughout this race. I wish he was a full-timer. Every race this weekend should be 10 to 20 laps longer at least. I'm wondering how much the want or need to have the races equal 250 of something impacted the length of the races. Heavy rain with 22 minutes to go during Darkside's GT race. No grip to keep up. That's rough. King says he's at PF Chang's waiting for food to be done. Curbside pickup's a wonderful thing. That's crazy. Curbside for PF Chang's. All right, we're still clean so far. Just to follow the leader at the moment. The closer these guys are running together, especially further back in the pack, the slower they're going to be going. So they should be able to keep a better handle on the car further back in the pack. But once you see a bigger gap, guys are going to take more leeway in how late they brake. So Caden Honeycutt with the lead. And over a 2-minute lap time. Further back, 2:30. Frankie already falling back quite a bit. He's just going to take care of the truck, I guess. We might actually get 25 green flag laps. At least 25. These guys have a pretty good handle on it so far. I wish Prime was broadcasting the whole weekend. I feel like they would have done a great job. And I'm sure they'll do a great job on Sunday. Yeah, so the race is only 50 laps. And the big debate was whether or not we're going to get 25 green flag laps. But it seems like as long as they're able to single file out on the first lap, then we're good. Lane tried to look to the inside there. Caden Honeycutt shut the door. That was close. Honeycutt, I mean, maybe almost spun himself there off the nose of Riggs. That was close. Rusty says he doesn't see 25. People are going to be super safe for the first 5 laps. So he's thinking it's going to break out here shortly. You may be right. I think especially as gaps develop in the field, we'll see guys actually push the limits, trying to make up ground. A lot of the guys, especially further back, are probably just judging their braking points right now off of the cars in front of them or the trucks in front of them. And once they lose contact with the car in front of them, they're going to dive it in deeper and maybe overdrive one of these corners. Lane Riggs looking to the inside again. He has position. There's going to be another left-hander coming up. Jamie McMurray, that's right. Yeah, King. Michael, he's the one that had the eye surgery. I told him we were talking about his procedure the other day. All right, Lane Riggs to the lead. Man, it would be great for Lane Riggs to get a win here. Jimmy's not too far back. He hasn't really given up that much time. But we'll see if Lane Riggs can stretch the gap here. Maybe he can. And maybe if Jimmy gets up here to Caden Honeycutt, that would give Lane enough of an opportunity to drive away. But all it takes here on these street circuits is one missed corner and you're on the wall. Bet lap time's over 2 minutes. You're right. Our leaders ran a 2:19. 2:19. And then back of the pack, they're over 2.5 minutes. Running gone in dead last. Not great to see. Where is McMurray right now? Currently scored 27th. Justin Marks moving up through the field, 24th right now. He has a road course racing background. Corey LaJoy, top 10. That's a really good position for a Ram truck. Kind of like Ryan Sieg. You just have to wait and see what's going to go wrong for one of the Ram guys whenever they run well. 16 truck in 16th right now. Uh-oh, 26 around. He potentially has room. Can he get it refired here? Looks like he went around potentially on the crane rails. Like, it looks like there's train rails on the track. And they paved over it as best they could, but they're crane rails for the giant gantry cranes to move around. A lot of unique elements to this track. Might switch to YouTube for streaming. I think YouTube is a little easier to get discovered by new people. Twitch, you get buried. Like that's why view botting is so out of control on Twitch. So the 76 and the 26 got together, took each other out. So Nicholson and Dawson Sutton. So the 76 maybe got in a little deep to the inside of Dawson Sutton. Took him out. 76 continued. Well, we are under caution here for the first time today. We made it to lap 4. Looks like we're going to have a very short run to the finish here of stage 1. Now pay attention. How long is it going to take for us to get back green flag racing? This will tell us a lot about what's going to happen this weekend. Lap 4, you were really close. You were really close, Rusty. There might only be one scoring loop on the track. I think you might be right. We didn't get any interval data until they crossed the start-finish line. And there might be additional, like, timing loops, but they may not be reporting it to the website, which is where we pull this data from. So Dawson Sutton got the unlucky break there. was like a synchronized spin. Yeah, kind of like the drifting competitions. Those are always so cool. The tandem drifting. Tyler's 12th. He's been impressing Christian all day. 76 of Nathan Nicholson. Only his third career start in an underfunded truck. Oh, yeah, the helmet? Yeah, I had to pull out the helmet especially for this weekend because, you know, it's the Navy race. Got to pull out the Maverick helmet, baby. Mave Rick. If this is someone's first time seeing the helmet, they're like, who's Maverick? No, Maverick. Sutton couldn't get his Silverado started back up. Yeah, occasionally these cars, just stock cars in general, are hard to refire. Takes a minute. So Parker moved up a few spots over the course of that run. Really good to see that. Jimmy got one position on, I think, the first lap and held it and really didn't let the leaders go very much. So still up there in contention. Maybe by the end of the race, he can make something happen. But Lane Riggs looks really strong right now. Jimmy and Honeycutt might actually be about equal. They didn't look too far off the pace of each other. But one thing to note is Jimmy didn't fire off on the restart very well. He tucked in behind Chandler Smith, which could have been a business decision, and then got by him a couple corners later. Perez de Lara lost a position over the course of the run. Good to see Grant Enfinger running well. I don't know really how much road course experience Grant Enfinger has. You know, outside of the Truck Series. Some beautiful shots here from the broadcast of the naval base, the aircraft carrier, and the skyline in the distance. Beautiful. If San Diego wasn't in California, I would totally love to live somewhere like that. Where the weather's perfect nearly all the time. Justin Marks moving up quite a bit too. You know, he was one of the guys who had to drop back to the rear, and he's moved up to 22nd. Giovanni Ruggiero actually dropped back a ton over the course of that run, unless he was one of the guys that went to the back. Before they shuffled the field, he was up here somewhere around the top 10. So maybe he's working his way up. I can't recall now. Not really a ton of surprises here. Good to see Kaz Gralla running well. Oh, Ron Capps is there, showing him on the broadcast. Racing legend there. Still has the Napa cap on. Love it. Goose helmet's nice. Yeah. Now, on Hendrick Motorsports website, they're selling a Tim Richmond helmet. I believe it's Tim Richmond. Could also be a Schrader, but I think it's a Tim Richmond. And they're also selling a Darrell Waltrip helmet. It's the open-faced style. Low-key, kind of looking at the Darrell Waltrip helmet. It's from his Tide Ride, the 17. Taking a look at it. It's more expensive than just buying the helmet itself and doing the decals at home. The Dale Senior helmet's really easy to make. Someone sells the decals online, so you just buy the open-faced helmet, put the stickers on, you're good to go. That would be a cooler one to do, and actually cheaper than just buying the Daryl helmet. You think Formula Drift is in Connecticut this weekend? That's what Rusty says. O'Reilly race tomorrow looks like it's going to be a battle between Brent Cruz and Austin Green. Austin Hill was actually really impressive in the Cup practice. For half the session, he had the fastest lap until I think SVG maybe passed him up by a little bit, maybe a couple tenths, and then several other guys ran a faster lap eventually. Hocevar had a top 5 lap. Larson had the fastest lap. Did Ron Capps ever race in IROC? He tested. I see he tested in 03. I thought I remembered him participating in IROC. He tested in 03 at Talladega. The NASCAR or the J-Ski article on this has a typo. I don't know if you guys can see this. That says Days of Thunder. Thunder. I know it's backwards, but Thunder. No, it's Days of Thunder. And did Capps ever run SRX? He did. Thought so. It's been 6 minutes and they're just getting to the start line. Yep. So NASCAR talked about wanting to get the races restarted quicker this weekend because they were worried about this. So what they should probably do in the future, and this would take potentially, depending on where they're going, a lot of prep. But they should have a shortcut to the track. And under caution, they run the shorter course. You know, if it's a 2-mile course, they run half a mile, they run a mile, whatever the shortest configuration they can get is, to get back to the start-finish line past pit road. That's probably what they should do. That's about the best solution to this problem we have at road courses, is intentionally build a shortcut back around to the start-finish line, because the way we do it right now is ridiculous. And that's one of the reasons that we don't run the full course at Circuit of the Americas anymore. It's not that the track wasn't, in decent shape to run the full thing. It's that every caution cycle was like 30 minutes long. And it sucked on TV, but it really sucked at the track because you were just sitting there baking under the hot Texas sun, literally watching days of your life get shortened from the end of your, I guess, life. I phrased that wrong, but you know what I'm trying to say. Out there baking to death. I had time to get up from my seat, go find a restroom, use the restroom, go to a concession stand and get a drink, and get back to my seat before racing went back green. It was wild. Why not just stop the cars and then restart when the track is cleaned? Well, the thing is that the track here didn't even need to be cleaned. But maybe that could be a solution, but then you have to worry about cars getting, refired and stuff. That could cause a whole nother can of worms. But you could potentially stop them on the backstretch, and then once everyone's grouped back up, just take them down pit road and have one actual lap of... yellow flag. So we're back green flag racing, by the way. Jimmy Johnson once again to the inside of Chandler Smith. He's not going to have the advantage here through this corner, but this corner you can run wide. We saw that a lot earlier in practice. Jimmy Johnson and Chandler Smith still side by side for third place. They're letting the first and second cars gap a little bit here. Chandler not cutting Jimmy any breaks here. But Jimmy's going to scoot by here. He's blocking Chandler Smith now. So now they're 2 wide behind Jimmy Johnson. Oh, no. Matt Crafton. Oh, that's not Matt Crafton. That's Ty Majeski. Oh, my goodness. Ty Majeski almost lost it. He ran up on the guys running 2 wide behind Jimmy Johnson. And he was fishtailing for about half the straightaway. My goodness. What a great save by not Matt Crafton. I saw that yellow 88 and Matt Crafton came to mind. I was like, oh, it's not him. That was very impressive. What happened to Jimmy? Did Jimmy blow a corner? I don't know if you guys saw that. Jimmy was third. Now he's in 6th. He's lost 3 positions, even to Majeski. I don't know. Maybe the running order's screwed up. That's weird. Ty Crafton, Matt Majeski. For some reason, Doodlebug, YouTube tried to translate those, but it didn't change a thing. I don't know why it does that. I've looked it up, and I don't know why it does it at all. 2 laps under caution, 1 lap for catch-up, pit in, and 1 for pit out and catch-up to restart. It looks like we're going to make 25 green flag laps. By the way, the official betting line on that, which you can bet on that, by the way, how many caution laps we're going to run and how many green flag laps we'll run. The official line was over under 22.5 green flag laps. So whoever took the over probably feeling pretty good right now. We got lucky there wasn't any cleanup involved, because that may have added on 1 to 2 more caution laps. So now they're showing Jimmy back in 3rd, so that may have just been a scoring error on behalf of either the broadcast or NASCAR, but that was really weird. I saw it and I was thinking, there's no way I almost did it again. There's no way Ty Majeski got by Jimmy. Like, Jimmy would have had to have missed a corner completely. And then I didn't see him back in the running order. So they're showing biggest movers of the race. Daniel Hemrick up 16 spots. Justin Marks up 14 spots. So a lot of people on the move. Justin Marks in our top 20 now. So it looks like Daniel Hemrick and Justin Marks are moving through the field pretty well. Road America has a short course NASCAR could use to shorten caution laps. Not sure if they would count laps or not then. I mean, you still could, I guess, every time you cross the start-finish line. That's as long as you're not running excessively more laps on the short course. Like, let's say it would be a 2 to 3 lap caution on the full course, but if you ran the short course, it would be 5. Then you probably don't count the caution laps. Good to see you, Jason. I hope you're doing well. for this historic Friday evening. What a stat line by Daniel Himmerich. Career wins. Career wins for not just a win in a season, but career wins. That is insane. Doodlebug said as he posted an image of the Road America track map into server. Let's see if we can just find one. Oh, I see it. I see it. I think I see what you're talking about specifically. Pull this up. So I believe that's the short part of the track you're talking about. So if they were running the full Road America, they could just go from turn 5 into what would be turn 6 at that point, or maybe turn 7. Just run straight through and back around to pit road. Not a bad way to do it, and that's exactly my idea of what we should probably do for future street circuit races if we want to continue this format, is to have a shortcut at some part of the track. And this would, you know, potentially be difficult logistically. If you want to have fans and stuff in the infield, they wouldn't be able to cross back over unless there was a bridge or a tunnel. You know, there are ways that would, or there are things that would make this difficult, but not undoable. You could just close it off. You'd have infield access here and infield access on this side. That's another way you could do it. And then just not let people cross over. Where's Cleat? Yeah, you know, this would have been the perfect race for Cletus, to be honest. I mean, not the street circuit. I think he would have demolished the truck already. But just how the race is themed, Navy 250 on a naval base, aircraft carriers all around. Cletus, whenever he makes additional starts later this year, he just needs to bring home the car or truck in one piece. Jason said he's doing good, just got out of the shower, and now he's having a cigarette and eating some Jets pizza. Pizza. I had Chick-fil-A. Sounds like we have stage cautions. I do believe so. I haven't heard otherwise. Seems like a good photo op for sure. Imagine Cletus getting to do a ride along with like the Thunderbirds or something. Like the Blue Angels. That would be a perfect military recruitment campaign. Do I like the grilled nuggets? I don't get the grilled nuggets. I hear they're healthier. They're like much lower in calories, but they have the same amount of protein as a normal nugget. I just enjoy the breading. And the grilled ones, I don't know. Like, I don't like to grab a grilled nugget. It doesn't feel right. It's like I need a fork or something to eat a grilled nugget. But the breaded nugget, it's like it has a shell built in for me to grab and dunk in the sauce. So Lane Riggs still out front, really healthy lead. Seems like he is the class of the field. Then Caden Honeycutt, Jimmy Johnson. Chandler Smith not too far back. What's up with the gap back from Infinger? In-finger to Perez de Lara is 10 seconds. What happened? What happened to cause a 10-second gap? Is Perez de Lara just slowing them down? That's wild. So Ankram's actually leading that pack now. Ben Rhodes trying to get around Perez de Lara. Where is Jamie? Or as DW would say, little Jamie baby. There he is. Top 20, not bad. His lap times are speeding up. Stacy says she wants the honey pimento chicken sandwich. I think Keaton would like that. He just got into pimento cheese and he thinks it's amazing. So I think he would like the honey pimento chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A. Are you serious? You worked at Dippin' Dots and got free food from anywhere in the food court. Jason, man, you were there in the peak of the mall, man. The mall used to be the place. Let's go to the mall. But, you know, the internet kind of killed that. And the mall used to be pop and the food court always packed out. Nowadays you go and it's like some shady characters and old people trying to get their fitness in. And that's if you have a mall that's open near you. A lot of them have shut down. Amazon, they need to do this. This is a great idea. They should open up Amazon Prime malls. You'd have like stores like you normally would where different brands can open up shop, and you can have a specialty shop kind of like a Sears in one end of the store where you can get stuff shipped to the mall instead of to your home. Just go pick it up there. It's a great idea. I'm sure there are no downsides to this idea. Blaine Riggs is just striping the field right now. Jimmy is somewhat closing in on Caden Honeycutt. Michael Waltrip just said that right after I did. He's actually running faster lap times than Honeycutt, and Chandler Smith is actually running Jimmy back down. Now, that's just one lap to look at. Not a great sample size. But it looks like Caden, over the course of the long run, not really able to hold on. So Lane Riggs going to take stage one. Caden Honeycutt going to get second here. Johnson, Smith, Infinger, and then a huge gap back to Tyler Ankrum, Ben Rhodes, Perez de Lara, Landon Lewis, and Tyler in that 42 truck. Corey here in 11th. And Justin Marks up to 15th. Justin Haley up to 14th. Not really a ton of ground gain for Justin Haley. He was running 16th earlier. They did a little dedication to Steve Wade there. Heading to commercial. Jamie top 20 currently. Stuart Friesen had to start in the rear. He's up to 20th. And Nathan Nicholson recovering from that early spin. Back up to 25th. Frankie, 26th right now. Ty Majeski after that near miss. Back to 27th. Fell back quite a bit. I'm wondering if anyone at all tried to flip that stage. I doubt it. that would have... I'm not even sure if the leaders are going to pit here. Bezos is eventually going to have all the money in the world. Literally all the money. No one's going to have any money. We'll all have Bezos coins. And you can only redeem it through Amazon services. That's the end game for the world. Send a link to Forza Motorsports video with Road America Short Circuit. Thank you, Doodlebug. Known as East Route in the Motorsport game. Last Forza Motorsports game I played was probably 16 years ago. It's been a long time. I've played a lot of the Forza Horizons games, but if I'm gonna play a like Simcade, I'm gonna play Gran Turismo. You know, it's not as racing focused as Motorsport is, but it's more auto focused. And I like racing common commuter vehicles around tracks as hard as I can. You know, it's still cool to do the GT stuff, to do the open wheel stuff, but I really enjoy just taking a beater around the track as fast as I can go. We won't even have to change our flag. We'll just be the United States of Amazon. All right. So it flew under... Flag flew under lap... I guess the beginning of lap 13, maybe. Or coming to 12, I'm not sure. But anyway, leaderboard's reporting lap 12 right now. Probably take a full lap to gather the field back up. Maybe the pace car can get out and do that quickly. So maybe we can get this back green in 3 laps. Maybe. 1 lap to gather them up, 1 lap to pit, and then back around. While we are under this caution period, I'm going to step away. I'll be right back. Don't talk. I'm going to move the chair so you can't do it. Yeah, try to talk to my chair. Not today. Not today. All right, Perez de Lara up 2 spots. LaJoy up 3. What happened to Jimmy? All right, looks like Jimmy did not pit. So Riggs came down. Looks like Honeycutt and Johnson both stayed out and maybe planning to pit at the end of stage 2. Could even try to flip stage 2. Ask the microphone. Gotta move the microphone next time. Can't have anything on screen. Hey, you want me to blow your mind? I'm going to blow your guys' mind real quick. Two mics. How about that? Now we're innovating. Double the mics. A little crowded in this camera shot. This one's a little dusty. Is that my old mic? That's actually a new mic. I used this one back when I would play on PlayStation on my television before I got a splitter and routed it to one of my PC monitors. So now I don't really need it as much, but I'm actually thinking about taking this one that's mounted to my desk down and using this one because it's a better angle. Because this one, this is as far as it can go left. And so sometimes when I'm streaming, I have to like angle my head kind of to the side to get right next to it. But if I use this one, it can go wherever I want it to. Can I scroll to the bottom? Yes, I can, Dan. So we'll look at the very bottom here. Yes, thank you for asking. So, this may or may not be accurate, depending on if people pit or not, and if this is updated since they came down pit road. So this may update the next lap by, so don't take this for 100% truth. Always take it with a grain of salt under the caution flag. And even more so on a road course. Timing can get a little bit off there. Can't wait. Dan, I got you, man. So, I mean, you're here with us on the internet, so I'm assuming you have enough connection to stream. So follow these instructions that are about to be posted in the chat, and you'll be able to find a way to watch the race. Yeah, I don't want anybody to miss the race. So we could technically make the mic portable. It can unscrew from the mount, and you can just hold it. But it's a giant mic. It's not meant to be held. I could get like another decent quality mic and just wear it as a lapel. But that's a money investment and a time investment. These are both the same models of mic, so I just know how to make them work decent enough. You did a bad thing at the gas station. Did you blow up the toilet, Jason? Were you that guy blowing up the toilet? Haley and Gralla are two that Christian knows for sure flipped the stage. I wasn't sure if anybody flipped it. I'm not sure how much that really benefit them, considering how many didn't pit. Main rig's in 15th. He's going to have to pass quite a lot of cars here. Well, we ran 2 laps under caution. Restarted on lap 3. The military has a ton of drones. Why can't we get some drone shots from, like, a gray eagle or a global hawk. Wouldn't that be crazy? All right. I'm really interested to see if Johnson has anything for Honeycutt. Maybe the plan was for Honeycutt to stay out in Stage 2 always, and maybe Honeycutt was saving, and that's why Jimmy was catching up. Jimmy just does not have fire off on restarts, but it seems like he may be a little faster or equal to Honeycutt on the long run. We'll see how true that is over the course of this run if we can stay green. And that's a really, really big if. Awesome, Dan. Enjoy the race, and hopefully your friend does well. Remember Dennis Setzer's 2010 Talladega crash? Not off the top of my head. I'll look it up real quick. No, I probably saw it, and I may have been there at the track. Oh, Mozak around. Pretty big damage there. Ben Rhodes, quite a bit of damage on that truck. Both are going to continue. Jimmy Johnson going for the lead here. He's looking to the inside of Caden Honeycutt. Those two trucks kind of lean on each other. Caden going to have the advantage going into the next corner, a right-hander. So Jimmy Johnson not able to complete the pass, but he is right there. Jimmy just disappeared from the scoreboard on the live timing for Fox. So they're having a lot of trouble with the live scoring. If you look at the leaderboard right now, Jimmy Johnson doesn't exist. He's in dead last. Oh, yeah, I reckon to the catch bins. Aaron's 312. Oh, I was probably at this race. Good night. Yeah, I don't remember that happening, but I was probably at that race live. So I probably didn't have a good view of that. I was probably focused on who won the race. That's wild. So Christian pointed out, entering the chicane could be a trouble spot. And that's right around where Mozak went around there. We stay green, but a couple trucks with damage there. And Jimmy Johnson's still pressuring for the lead. But Chandler Smith is... Caden Honeycutt blew the corner. Jimmy Johnson to the lead. Who would have guessed? In 2026, Jimmy Johnson on a naval base in a truck would be leading. If you told someone that, even 2 years ago, no one would believe you. People would think you were crazy. And here he is. Jimmy Johnson. He should come run another truck season. Go for the championship. Battery charge. How old? I was 93 and a half. Technically, this is Jimmy Johnson's home track now. So the leaderboard should update here shortly. A lot of delay on the leaderboard today. Now, can Chandler Smith run down Jimmy Johnson? Jimmy's had guys to pace off of throughout this whole race. And can Honeycutt, after locking up his tires, can he run back down Chandler Smith? Or maybe did he flat spot the tires? Kind of resembles Evel Knievel, for sure. I like going back and watching some of Knievel's jumps, and even his son had some pretty impressive jumps. Jimmy Johnson to the lead. How about that? Crazy. The leaderboard still hasn't refreshed and shown this update. Seems like we're about 2 laps behind. Odd. We go to the... There we go. It's showing Jimmy in the lead now. Yeah, a little delayed there on the leaderboard. Let me go to the NASCAR website. Yeah, they're also... It's like, the NASCAR website's equal to my leaderboard. I mean, this is where we pull the data from. And they're just now showing lap 17. So not shocking. There's a lot of info on this page. I would like to see where they pulled this data from, but I haven't found it yet. Anyway, that's a project for another day. Mark's got damage to the front and rear of his truck. Day basically done. That's unfortunate. He was moving pretty well. We stay green, though. Right now, the leaderboard is only reporting 3 caution laps. I don't know how that can be accurate, but not bad. Looks like we're on track to make 25 green flag laps. What happened to Lane? Lane pit under the stage break. So Lane can either choose to flip this stage, or he can choose to... he could pit with the leaders and just be on equal stuff. Or he also has the option to stay out. But I don't know if he wants to run 25 additional laps, or even if they can run 25 laps just on fuel. But the rest of the leaders decided to stay out. Let's take a look at this. Go to J-Ski. I'm going to see what the fuel window is. Usually they have this on here. I'm not seeing it. Now here's fuel window 24 laps. So Lane Riggs cannot make it to the end on fuel from here. So at the minimum, he's going to have to pit for fuel at some point. But I don't think you want to run 24 laps or 25 laps on old tires. So a really interesting decision there from Lane Riggs, who looks like he's the fastest truck in the field. Even back in the pack, he's running really good lap times. Corey LaJoy out of the race. Even though the leaderboard doesn't report that yet. So looks like maybe a spotter issue for Corey LaJoy. No communication there. He didn't know. Jimmy Johnson down pit road. So it looks like Jimmy's going to flip the stage here. Okay, I mean, this is a big call. This could be what wins or loses the race for Jimmy. I don't know about this call. That the fuel window is 24 laps. So at the minimum, he may still have to come back down under the yellow to take a splash of fuel. I don't know how I like this. Yeah, I mean, we're not sure exactly what mileage they're getting, but J-Ski reports the fuel window at 24 laps. So maybe that's a bit off, and maybe they can run a bit extra. They're showing Justin Marks' truck now. Christian was talking about that a minute ago. Just Corey LaJoy things. It's fitting. It's fitting that he's in a Ram truck full time now. He probably could have taken a top tier ride. He delayed. Now he's stuck running for a back of the pack or at best mid-pack team. Yeah. You're either first or you're last. Really interesting call there for Jimmy. I'm wondering what Chandler Smith and Caden Honeycutt do here. Are they going to run it to the end? They're going to be right on there. I think they can make it. So we're at 24 laps for stage 1 and stage 2 with caution laps included. So I think they could run it to this end of the stage if they wanted to. But where does that put them in relation to Johnson and in relation to Lane Riggs? Lane has a fast truck. Chandler Smith down. He's running that Hard Rock Racing or Hard Rock Hotel and Casino scheme. Hard Rock Racing would be a sick name for a racing team. So that Hard Rock Casino, they're building one in Las Vegas, and it's going to have a giant guitar-shaped building that you can stay in. It's going to be like one of the hotels around the casino. Very expensive project, but it's going to be very impressive when they get done. Be very interesting seeing Jimmy's pace in regards to Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs is faster. For sure. Like, I have no doubt about that. Gio down. Let's go further back. There's Jimmy. Best lap, 2:16.9. Now, can we find Lane Riggs? Almost a second faster. So that's the fastest lap speed. But yeah, I have no doubt in my mind Lane Riggs is the best truck out there right now. Jimmy has a case to make for being the second best, but Jimmy cannot fire off on the restart. He struggled with that throughout the race. Ty Majeski all over the back of Parker Kligerman. That Lane Riggs might sweep the stage. If Lane could flip the stage too. But he could stay out and come in for a splash of fuel. I don't know what call they make here. We're running very different strategies here. We have guys flipping the stage. We have guys that may be running to the end of this stage. Guys that pit under that first caution. Guys that pit under the stage caution. Wild stuff. Denny Hamlin fan? Interesting. We have someone here called Denny Hamlin fan. Jason said he used to have a Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Indy. The last person to go there was Chris Farley. He ate it all. He ate it all. that how he died? Yeah, Hard Rock cafes used to be pretty big, but most of them have struggled and like downsized. I saw one, I forget where it was. Oh yeah, I saw your message, Doodlebug. I forget where my wife and I saw this Hard Rock. Atlanta, maybe? It was a smaller one, and it was honestly about the size of an Applebee's. It was not that impressive. Seems like they both went out about the same time then. Yeah, the Hard Rock cafes, you know, you'd always have like t-shirts people would buy. So you have like Hard Rock, like Nashville, Hard Rock, Gatlinburg, or, you know, wherever else. Hard Rock, Las Vegas. That was during the big craze of having themed restaurants. They even had a NASCAR cafe. That was a thing. And the building's still there. They haven't done anything with the building since it closed, like 2 decades ago. Which is kind of hilarious. Rusty said he was there. Chris Farley was going to be the original Shrek voice. That's right. That's right. It seems like it would have been a very different movie had Chris Farley lived. All right, Lane Riggs flipping the stage. Coming down pit road. Now, can Jimmy get back by while Lane is on pit road? This will decide track position at the beginning of stage 3, potentially. He's going to have fresh tires. He's going to have good fuel. I don't know what the rest of these guys do in relation. A little damage on the left side of that truck. Sticking out a little bit. That might actually help him. There's a few good crash compilation and like NASCAR highlight channels out there, but a lot of the good ones that were around in the early days of YouTube are gone. And it's a shame because they had a lot of stuff on there. So with 2 laps to go in the stage, Parker Kligerman leads. Ty Majeski still right on his bumper. They've been nose to tail for the last few laps. Grant Enfinger not too much further back. Out of the guys that pit earlier, Chandler Smith out first. Caden Honeycutt second. And Jimmy Johnson third. They're running 8th, 9th, and 10th. And that's probably the inverse order of how they should be running on speed. Frankie Muniz currently scored 22nd. Jamie McMurray currently scored 133 seconds behind. Maybe he tried to flip the stage here. I'm not sure what they are doing. Looks like Clint Boyer might still win that bet. It's close right now. Whoa, big damage. I don't know if this truck's going to make it back. Jamie McMurray. Are we going to make it back around? Did he drop debris? That truck is destroyed. Clint Boyer is going to win the bet. Man, that's a good-looking USO truck, too. By the way, I'm probably going to buy the Alex Bowman diecast for this weekend. I love the USO and what they do. And I wish there was a local chapter so I could volunteer for them, but we do not have a local chapter. Man. Just knocked down the wall and turned 16. Probably one of the best looking Ram trucks all season. They're thinking he could have had a part failure that led to this. The truck is leaning quite a bit. Hard to say how much of that is just cornering versus if something broke. On the final lap, Ty Majeski looking to the inside of Parker Kligerman, not able to make any gains there. It looks like there is a piece of something on the track. They didn't throw the caution. That's like a pretty big chunk of rubber, whatever it was. All right, just a few more corners to go. Ty Majeski's right here. Parker running really well through those S's. Ty's really aggressive here through the chicanes. Or chicane singular. Made pretty good ground there on the entry to that chicane. All right. Parker Kligerman going to hold on for the stage win. Majeski second, Enfinger third. And further back through the pack, Chandler Smith seventh. That's a notable thing to point out. Caden Honeycutt ninth, Jimmy Johnson 10th, and Lane Riggs 12th. How is this going to impact potentially the end of this race? A lot of strategy calls to make here. See if we'll have any highlights for today's race posted. So we have a picture of what brought out or a GIF of what brought out the first. That's a video of what brought out the first caution. Third time's the charm. So that was that synchronized spin from earlier. Nicholson and Dawson Sutton coming together there. Both trucks continued pretty much undamaged, but Dawson Sutton was not able to get his truck refired. Synchronized spin, and this is the save from Ty Majeski. I called out Matt Crafton. I was like, oh, Matt Crafton. Ty Majeski in that 88. Oh, golly. Let's zoom in on this. Look at his tire here. He has that thing pointed all the way to the right. Moving those hands fast. Great save for Ty Majeski. That is impressive. And didn't really lose too much ground on track. Not bad. Not bad. And then there's Lane Riggs taking stage one. And in stage two, Jimmy had been pestering Caden Honeycutt for a couple laps before this. Looked to the inside a couple times, not able to get there to make the pass. Got alongside him one time, not able to make the pass. They come over the hill. This is where I think we're going to see some broken toe links on Sunday, by the way. Look at the 11 just jump over this hill, getting air. It is insane watching these guys come over this hill. But Caden Honeycutt gets in there too deep. Locks it up. Just blows the corner. Jamie Johnson able to capitalize on this. And leads a few laps. In maybe just a couple. But he did end up leading for a while in this race. But he ended up flipping the stage. He short pit. And actually lost a couple spots throughout that whole transition. Chandler Smith got out ahead of him. Caden Honeycutt got out ahead of him. And only a couple spots back is the fastest truck in the race now, Lane Riggs. And that gets us up to date with what's going on in this race. Oh, we do have a bit of a replay of what happened to that USO truck of Jamie McMurray. It's a ton of damage. See if we have the replay here. Jamie McMurray just flattens the wall here. Is the race over? No. And Parker and Ty, they've been running close together for about half this race now. Parker able to hold on. You know, Parker's not full-time, but it's good to see him having some kind of success here. I wish he would run a full season in the Truck Series, but I guess just not able to bring the money required to do it. But, man, he's good for a couple wins a year in this truck. But we will see how these guys do. Of the ones that stayed out here, they're going to lose some track position at the start of this stage. And I just don't know if there's going to be any holding off Lane Riggs. Unless he gets stuck back in traffic. That's about the only hope for the field. He gets stuck in traffic and we run green. I'm going to go obtain a Diet Coke. I need to get a green share that just blends into the background. Wouldn't that be sick? And that would just be floating here. Ooh. That'd be pretty wild. Let's see what people on Twitter are saying about today's race. So Alexander Alex the Admiral, he's a good follow on Twitter. I like a lot of his takes. Pretty much everything this man says, I agree with. But he says, suddenly it's June 2010 and Jimmy Johnson is leading at a road course. How about that? This was a very short period of time in the COT era. No wing, but we still had this weird looking splitter area with all the braces. That was a weird time. Good tweet there from Alex. Breakheart says, I've seen enough. Put Jimmy Johnson in a truck full time. Yeah, a lot of comments about Jimmy Johnson. The first 3 tweets I'm seeing are about Jimmy. Unk still got it. Daryl Waltrip, is that in his... that's not his Kmart car. Oh, it is. Yeah, Kmart. Check this out. Great shot from Ryan Priest here. Look at that. All 4 wheels off the ground. That is absolutely insane. These guys are going to break a toe link tomorrow. I see a massive wreck happening because a guy just blows a toe link. It could be midway through the race. It could be towards the end of the race. But someone's going to break a toe link from seemingly normal, contact with the track. Not to the wall, not to another car. Or if they make contact with the wall or another car weakens the toe link, they hit this jump and then break the toe link. It's going to be wild. They're actually having to move the wall back into position. Bro, you don't know what a toe link is? We've talked about this several times on stream, but it's the weak point on this Gen 7 car. There's a toe link on each tire. Or not each tire, on each wheel. And it previously, wasn't a problem on any of the older cars, but it is now. Just due to how the rear end is configured and how the car is configured. But it keeps the tires pointed in the direction they are configured to be pointed, as the toe. You may hear it in like your car, oh, the toe is out of alignment. Same thing here, the toe link, it keeps that tire in alignment or that wheel in alignment. When it breaks, you'll see the wheel suddenly turn sideways. So when a lot of the times when you see one of these guys get into the wall, get into another car, they break a toe link and the wheel's just pointed to one side. Maybe it's the rear wheel, so you see the car like dog tracking. Just kind of crab walking down the straightaway. That's a toe link. Each wheel has one. And that is the weak point on this Gen 7 car. And that's what's ended a lot of guys' days. This car is really tough. It can take a beating. But if a single one of those toe links gives way, at the minimum, you're going to lose a few laps. At the most, you're out of the race. So it's been a huge pain. Really annoying. Just hard to say exactly why NASCAR went in that direction. Good Google search summary there, King. While I am breaking down this critical component and putting it into layman's terms. AI is going to turn our brains into mush. It's Overforce. Doodlebug, are you happy that Kyle Larson is on the cover of the video game? Yeah. No. AI has already ruined gaming on PCs. Like previously I could buy a 2 terabyte SSD and I'd be out a couple $100. Nowadays, if I want to buy a 2 terabyte SSD, I might be out $700. It's ridiculous. That's happened to RAM prices, GPU prices, storage prices. If you bought, like, I forget what the amount is, maybe like $15 or something in SanDisk a year ago, you would have like $10,000 now or something. They make storage components. SanDisk, like a lot of those little SD cards and stuff, or like flash drives. They are up 700% year to date. Maybe it was 15,000. So let me show you guys this. This is what AI has done to computing. And this is a bubble, by the way. Whenever they find a new piece of tech, look at that. They were trading at 46.50 a year ago. And now they're trading at $2,184. That's directly a result of AI. And all these data centers that are being built. That's a problem. That's going to make consoles unaffordable. That's going to make gaming PCs unaffordable. It's not a good thing. And it's a bubble. If a new piece of technology comes out that reduces the storage size, the need of storage, this stock is going to collapse. And so many of the major companies in the Dow 500, NASDAQ, whatever, are heavily invested in AI. And only a couple of them are going to long-term profit off of this. Depends on whichever one gets the advantage. Sam Altman, the devil. Sam Altman is a guy who took a non-profit AI company. You may have heard of him, OpenAI, behind ChatGPT. That was Elon's brainchild. That wasn't his company. It was a non-profit. And Elon was one of the major founders. And it was meant to be like an altruistic kind of open source, open to the public, free to use AI platform. And they were going to try to do it ethically to make sure we didn't invent the next Terminator. Sam Altman took the nonprofit company and turned it into a for-profit company. And so Elon hates him. Hates him a lot. And there's a lot of bad blood there. But Sam Altman is not an ethical guy. He's just rage baiting. Ignore King. Smart? No. I forget what he said. He said something about AI in regards to his kids. Like, AI is going to be smarter than his kids could ever be or something. I forget what he said about it, but oh yeah. Yeah. He frequently states his children will never be smarter than AI. That's according to an article by Business Insider. What a thing to say. Are we still under state's caution? Indeed. I think, it's just a long caution lap, number one. Number two, we are having extensive cleanups for all the debris that Jamie put down and whatever else debris dropped on the track. An important travel opportunity will soon be presented to you. That's a very specific fortune cookie. But I'm going to say that that fortune cookie is lying to you. Unless you use that AI website I told you about. Now, one of the positives of AI is the very tedious tasks of looking through like a lot of data quickly. And so there's an AI flights website I really like. You can use that. You can find the cheapest flight to any country in the world. Or you can find the cheapest flight from one airport to anywhere in the US. Great website. Great website. A lot easier than manually doing it on Google Flights. But now that Spirit Airlines is closed, all airline prices are up in general. One thing you can't do with $1 trillion is make your kids speak to you. Yeah. I know exactly what you're referring to. Caden Honeycutt leads on the restart. Chandler Smith second. Jimmy third. Lane Riggs a bit further back with some Ram trucks all around him. Lane's in the danger zone right now, and what Jimmy needs to do, Jimmy needs to get by Chandler Smith, obviously, but he needs to, if he wants a shot to win, he needs to get out front. Pray we stay green and hope that Lane Riggs does not get through traffic. Just need to watch Lane Riggs' lap times once they start updating. Best car on track, but he does not have track position currently. He is up to 5th now. Lane Riggs already up to 5th. That is a good point, King. It's a good, well, I think Bill Gates already proved that. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Sometimes kids are just stupid. So if my kid hated me because I was genuinely right about something, then, you know, it would still suck to be hated by your own offspring, but if I'm right, I'm right. Chandler Smith's still really close to Caden Honeycutt. Jimmy a 1.5 seconds back with only one truck between himself and Lane Riggs. I think Lane can run all out here. I don't think he has to save. Not much, at least. Not as much as these other guys, if they have to save. Bruh. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I wouldn't want to be in that club. Bro, Christian, you still got a fidget spinner, bro? Living 10 years in the past. That was a 2016 thing. I saw a video and someone getting fidget spinner mugged. Oh my goodness. Caden Honeycutt into the wall. Chandler Smith gonna go to the lead. Caden Honeycutt into the tire barrier. And right now he's probably just gonna hold up Jimmy Johnson. Opportunity has fallen into the lap of Chandler Smith. This is best case scenario for Chandler Smith. And he's holding up Jimmy right now. So now Jimmy's 2.5 seconds back from the leader. He has 2. Not bad. I have no fidget spinners. I might actually still have my original one. Maybe. I would have to look in the center console of my Toyota. I know Jimmy, even with the damage to Caden Honeycutt's truck, Jimmy still hasn't gotten by, and Lane Riggs is closing in quickly. Jimmy, he may have to dump him. Lane Riggs is closing in. If Jimmy doesn't pull the trigger here, he's done. Lane Riggs is going to eat him up. Yeah, honestly, that was a great place to hit the wall because of the tire barrier. If he'd hit the concrete, he would have been destroyed. Some people would be happy doing that, Doodlebug. A lot of people are interested in these AI slop videos about, like, Fruit Love Island or something. I forget what it's called. All right, Caden Honeycutt down pit road. So now, no cars between Jimmy and Lane Riggs. And Caden Honeycutt held up Jimmy Johnson like 4 seconds. So now he's 5 seconds back from the leader. Jimmy's done. I'm not saying he's, out of the race, but Lane is going to get by him here. And Lane's probably fast enough to run down Chandler Smith. Yep. Lane Riggs by Jimmy. Jimmy didn't pounce when he had the chance. With 33 into the wall. Pretty big contact there. He's going to get looped back around. That's pretty major contact. Frankie Muniz, we were just commenting on him before the race about how his GT experience might help him out today. And how he usually brings home the truck clean. And today, neither is going to be true. Even though the bed cover on the back of these trucks has flipped back and has created a giant spoiler. Frankie might have the most downforce on track right now. Just keep going, Frankie. Don't stop. I want to see what lap times you can turn with that massive spoiler. Man. So Lane Riggs is already cutting the gap to the lead. Jimmy not staying with Riggs, but he is also alongside him, cutting that gap. I take that back as the intervals update. The intervals are a bit screwy because we're on a road course. Are we under caution? Yes, we are. We are under caution. I was looking at the graphic up there. It was showing yellow. Yeah, our leaderboard's turned yellow. So we are under caution for debris on track. Now, it could have been Munis that dropped this. It also could have been Honeycutt. It could have been anybody. There's been a lot of trucks into the wall. Oh my, yeah, Munis's truck just unpeeled like a can of tuna. Would I rent a video game console just to play a cloud version of a game? In the future, maybe. But right now, streaming is not good enough for that. It may work fine for some games. But the high-speed games that I like to play, shooters and racing games, you have issues with bitrate. And so fidelity starts to drop when you get into really intense scenes. And it's getting better. It's getting better, and there are technologies that are making that easier to do, but we're not there yet. And then, like, you also have to deal with a bit of input delay because it's not processing the game locally. But maybe one day that'll be doable. But anytime they've tried to do technology that streams games, it's not there yet. Like, I can stream games on my PlayStation, but I always opt to download the game anyway because the little millisecond of input lag is super noticeable. And then if your internet goes down in quality at all, the game just shuts off. That's, you're done. Welcome back, Jason. Yeah, this has been not a crazy race, but man, Caden Honeycutt at the front of the pack twice now. Having trouble. Chandler Smith with damage to the right front of his truck. Lane Riggs, probably the fastest truck in the race, right behind him. And Jimmy Johnson, the 7-time. Not good on restarts here. Just keep that in mind. Back there in third. Can Jimmy get it done? Still 18 to go. Probably not going to restart until 17 to 16 to go. I think Jimmy should have pressed the issue there a bit more when he saw Honeycutt in the wall. Put him in a bad place, booed him, whatever, but he didn't. And now he's lost the position to Lane Riggs. He was probably going to either way, but at least they would have both been closer to Chandler Smith before that caution. Cautions do breed cautions. I hear Larry McReynolds in my ear. Cautions breed cautions. I'm gonna go in the swimming pool, gonna lay on a float and watch the stream. That sounds like the life, Jason. 2 feet to 9 feet. That's a really good pool. That's a really good pool. I'm telling you, man, if we ever make it up for a race, we could easily do that. Or a Colts game. I don't know if we're going to pay full price to go to a Colts game, so I may just go to a preseason game. But it's doable. Indy's a fun place to visit on the way up. You stop at Mammoth Cave. You stop at the Corvette Museum in Kentucky. Fun little trip. And then if it's open, you go to the museum in Indy. And if they're doing them, you can take tours of Lucas Oil Stadium. Some days they don't do them. Last time I was there, I couldn't do one because they were having a wedding. And they were setting up for that. Depending on how long this takes, you might be able to catch the A main for Smoky Mountain. Lucas Oil late model race. Peak time of the year for local racing. I was saying earlier in the stream, I made it out to my local short track this last weekend, and I just discovered there's a dirt track I didn't know about 30 miles south. I think it's south. Anyway, 30 miles outside of town in some direction. So I may see some dirt track action one of these Saturday evenings. They should have invited Tom Cruise out to be the grand marshal of Sunday's race. It would have been a home run. 40th anniversary of Top Gun. That's pretty nice, Jason. Andrew Luck makes me so sad. What could have been? And what could have been if they hadn't have cut Peyton Manning and just let Andrew develop under Peyton? What could have been then? Rusty says no dirt tracks by him. Closest is like 50 miles away. Yeah, we don't have a ton of tracks around us. Like if you want to drive an hour, then there's probably, several, but not a ton right around us. So the racing scene here is not as good as it is in other parts of the state and in surrounding states. Oh no, Grant Enfinger. That car is shut off on pit road. So still electrical problems that 9 team is facing. He was having such a good race. And Brendan Gaughan with a right front down, under caution. That tire's coming apart right at the entrance to pit road, it looks like. Running for South Point Hotel and Casino. So we had 2 casinos in the race at least. Christian says he tunes into all the races, dirt or asphalt. Yeah, I mean, to be really anywhere north of, in my opinion, Tennessee, it starts getting colder. Really north of Kentucky. You got to deal with some harsh winters. Rusty says he's about 38 miles from the Freedom Factory. Not bad. Not bad. Pretty good racing scene down there, too. Few notable tracks, some good road courses as well, in addition to ovals. Jason says he used to do work at Peyton Manning's house when he lived on the north side of Indianapolis. Interesting. Christian says good thing he got 8 stage points in stage 2 for Enfinger. He's gonna need them. He's gonna need them. It helps soften the blow. Jason said he's going to gamble. The casinos won't win the race. Definitely. Definitely. I have my what's it called? My E-Pass? I forget what they call it specifically in Florida, the Sun Pass. I have two of them. I have one that has Florida State University on it, and then I just have a generic black one. So I have two ready to go at a moment's notice. I used it quite a bit when I was down there in April. I was there for a week. So instead of paying the rental car company for toll access, I just bought my own transponder, slapped it on the dashboard, and rock and roll. Toll by plate. Yeah, that's how most places with the camera systems do it. But you get a discounted rate with the transponder. I remember I actually went on a toll road in DC, and I was only on there for like a mile, you know, to the very next exit. And they sent me a charge for like $17 in the mail because I didn't have a transponder or anything. Didn't have the stickers. So no, I'm not about that life. That, and I don't even think it would go to the right place. My address is not up to date. So they would just hate me. Cousin's house didn't get hit by the tornado. I was watching that one. That was a wild day of tornadoes. Some big ones. Flattening houses. There was one headed towards a Walmart I saw. I don't think that one was actually down when it got into town. That's when it crossed over into Indiana, I think. Kirsten says 40 to 60 degrees is his favorite weather to work in. Between 40 to 50, it's comfortable in a hoodie. About 55, it's comfortable. The temperatures you have spot on, but it also depends on the wind. You can't have a windy 40-degree day and wear a hoodie, because it's going to cut through that hoodie like Swiss cheese. Just boom, right through it. You're freezing. You got goosebumps. You can cut through diamonds with your... I had to move up a little bit because it was off screen. 95 there today. It's actually been a pretty mild year for most of the country. Normally, by this time of the year, we've already had multiple, near 100-degree days, if not over 100. And so far, we're still getting some occasional high 70s days. After some rain comes through, man, we are 5 and 6 wide, further back through the pack. Riggs up there in the front. Looks like Johnson came down pit road. That may be the end of his day. Where did Jimmy restart? So just outside the top 10. I don't think anybody's up there to stop Lane Riggs anymore. Only thing that can stop him is a late caution. Yeah, you don't want a tornado to hit a Walmart. It's, they're not the safest buildings. Oh no, Jimmy Johnson drove it in deep. I don't think he's going to lose really any spots here, but he has some damage now to that right front. Maybe his left side. That was close. Jimmy missed the corner and nailed Brendan Queen. Or as I like to call him, Butterbean McQueen. I legitimately thought that was his name. All last season, I thought that was his name. Good night. Jimmy. we were about due for a Jimmy mistake. So can Jimmy run down Honeycutt? Probably not. But that should be his target. I mean, Lane Riggs, class of the field. Everybody else trapped behind Majeski right now. Johnson not really moving up through the pack. He had the, pacing up to stay top 2, top 3. But now that he's stuck back in the pack, it's the furthest back he's been all day. So I think Jimmy's out of the equation here. If he could get a top 10, that would be really good for that team, but unless some very weird events happen, I think Jimmy's out of it. So the big story right now is, can Lane Riggs stretch the fuel? He has a decent gap back, so he doesn't have to run crazy lap times. That's funny, Jason. I was extremely confused. Honeycutt trying to get by Ruggiero. They're side by side. This is where he locked it up earlier. Looks like they're going to sort things out. Honeycutt into third. If Riggs runs out, Honeycutt might be the guy that assumes the lead. We are 3 wide further back. Chandler Smith to the inside. He's going to gain both those spots. And Nicholson's running really well in the running order. 7th right now, after being involved in that early caution. Christian Eckes up there. Gio Ruggiero had a terrible day going. Was running with about 20th place speed, and now he's up there in 6th. Fox using AI again? Chandler probably gonna be the first one to run out of gas. We will see. I think Riggs is in a great position to potentially make it to the end. He doesn't have to really run decent lap times. He has 3 seconds to give up, too. But we could always get a late caution. We could always have another McMurray situation. Somebody just knocks down a wall, literally. So Jimmy up to 8th now. About 7/10 back from the 7th place truck of Nathan Nicholson. So can Jimmy improve his running order just in the event that we might get a late caution? Could Jimmy make up some ground here to potentially capitalize on that? It seems to me like Jimmy didn't think he had enough to make it to the end. Not sure why they would give up all that track position. I don't know if I told anyone about the one-arm man, but poor guy. I hope you got him out of the tree before those storms came through this last week. Or got him up from out under the tree. And they're showing fighter pilots on TV. It's hard to pull just the blue visor down. Where is the... Jimmy Johnson issues. Trying to get by Nathan Nicholson and went around. We were about due for a Jimmy Johnson mistake. That's his second there. So Jimmy going to lose out on a top 10. Really disappointing for Jimmy Johnson. Picked the right time to pull our visor down. Chandler Smith pushing really hard here still. He is looking all around Majeski, looking for a way by. Chandler might take out Ty here shortly. I have no clue, Jason. Do you guys share the same birthday? I would not doubt that. I would not doubt Majeski and Smith getting together. Oh, Jake Garcia stopped on track. He's slightly rolling. Let's see if he can get it refired. This could... Caution's out. The caution is out. Does Jimmy come in here for tires? This really benefits Jimmy. We have enough time left where he could potentially get back in the top 10. Right now, I don't know if the Cup Series could go to St. Petersburg. And like, I'm sure that they could run it. And I think it would be an entertaining race. St. Petersburg is a really fun track. The problem is the bumps that it has might just rip the car apart, which may be the problem we have on Sunday. It'll be something I'm paying attention to. A track that I think they definitely couldn't run is Sebring. If they went there, I think the car would explode. Just lap one. All 4 toe links would break. That track is rough. That's where they stress tested the Garage 56 car to see if it could handle 24 hours at Le Mans. St. Pete's not fast enough. That's putting a lot of faith in the Gen 7 car. You know, it doesn't have to be one bump that breaks it, especially on Sunday, this Sunday. I think what we might see is someone make contact with another car, make, you know, slight contact with the wall, but continue, no damage on the car. But then they hit one of these bumps. You know, they come over the hill, and that might be what ends up breaking the toe link. I'm going to be watching. That is a terrible idea. You would have to have about 50 different spotters, if not more. You could have a cup car go there and see what times they could turn, but having a... No. That would not work. Unless you ran the short course. Do it with no spotters. Definitely not. And we just had a fatality there. What? 2 months ago? Is it race changing? I think the biggest thing it changed is lane rigs can probably make it to the end now safely. Which is not what the rest of the field wanted to see. I think the biggest thing maybe is that Ty and maybe even Chandler will have a shot to maybe move lane rigs, because I don't know if anyone's going to outrun him on pace. NASCAR should go back to Japan. Motegi. I saw they actually, I forget which track it was. It may have been Motegi, but I saw they demolished the oval portion at one of their tracks. I also saw a video of someone reconstructing. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Tsukuba something. That's another track that I know really well from Gran Turismo. Anyway, he reconstructed it completely in, I think the last Forza Motorsports game. Not this one, but the last one. That was impressive. So, I was right. 2 months ago. Oh, yeah. Probably the earthquake that caused the tsunami, if I had to guess. That would be awesome if Jimmy did that. Just sends it. Somebody needs to Ross Chastain one of these corners. I don't know. The barriers have been moving after contact. So I don't know. I don't think a car could Ross Chastain it, even if they wanted to. They would move one of the barriers out of the way and boom. Yes, there's a T in the name of the circuit, but it's Tsukuba. You know, you don't really pronounce the T, so it's like scuba. Scuba. I need to find that video. So it looks like a few people have attempted this. So I'm not sure which one was the video I saw, but they did a great job. My goodness, this is insane. Sunday at 1, we have a race. IndyCar, that's 1 Central, 2 Eastern. And then the San Diego race, only a couple hours after. So I don't know if we're going to do the IndyCar race. I need to see what their average race length is there. Or if there's an estimate. Because I would hate to start the Indy race and then have to end it like 10, 15 laps early to go do the Cup race. And then, like, I don't know. The Cup race is going to be a bit longer. Plus, the post-race, it would just be a lot of streaming. IndyCar is like watching paint dry. I think IndyCar is pretty awesome. Especially when they go to oval tracks. I mean, that is some on-edge driving. I think the hybrid system has hurt IndyCar, but to a lesser extent than the Formula 1 guys. Formula 1 is paint drying, but it's highly engineered trillion-dollar paint drying. So, ooh, gotta be impressed. Doodlebug says 2025 race was 153. I mean, that's right on the number. So, yeah, I probably don't have time to do the Indy race. The cars are ugly. They're way overdue for a chassis change. I am guessing you're not a fan of the aero screen. I don't mind it. I think it's a bit safer than the Halo that Formula 1 uses. The Halo is still partially open, so if someone was to have a wreck, kick up a rock or whatever, it could just fly right through. And we've had drivers in the past die from that. Having debris come up into the cockpit. The aero screen at least gives the drivers a chance for it to deflect. Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't look as cool as the old open wheel designs, but it's a good safety development. All right, restarting. Lane Riggs, really good jump. He's clear. Does Majeski have anything for him? Some smoke out of the left front of Riggs. He has a really good run here. Chandler Smith into second. 3 wide, further back, 4 wide. A lot of guys making contact further back in the pack. All over each other. It's crazy we stayed green there. Still 3 wide, further back in the pack. A huge traffic jam further back. They know the pay window is opening here shortly. Majeski and Honeycutt side by side still. Jimmy Johnson did pit under that last caution cycle, so he lost a lot more track position. If Jimmy had just been a little more patient, he could have potentially had a top 5 finish. If not top 3. He took himself out. That's a shame. He had such a good run. 15 truck is stopped on track currently. Looks like they probably going to get it restarted here. There we go. It's rolling again. That's Tanner Gray. That yellow Enduro banner popped up for a split second. Is there a caution? Yeah. F1, they don't care about the rest of the motorsporting world. If it's not a FIA-supported event, they don't care. That's a big mafia. And we have a Ford 1, 2, 3. They're looking good right here. Chandler Smith is challenging here. Teammates may battle this out. And I don't know how patient Chandler's going to be here. How about this turn of events? Chandler Smith to the lead. Lane's going to take a wide entry into this corner. So now we have 2 teammates battling here. Caden Honeycutt was able to get by Ty Majeski to break up that Ford posse at the front of the pack. Wouldn't that be something? Lane Riggs has dominated the day. And after fighting all day, running, and he was a top 4 guy, but he wasn't battling with our leaders at any point. Late in the race, after he received damage, charged back to the front. I think the big strategy call was when they flipped the stage in at the end of stage 2 and gained track position. They got past Honeycutt and Johnson. And that's kind of set up this chain of events to have him run back through the field. Riggs isn't falling too far off the pace. Still a long way to go. One missed corner. And that would pull both these guys into the equation, Honeycutt and Riggs. Crazy Honeycutt's still going. Now, these are sheet metal bodies. These aren't the composite bodies that we'll see Saturday and Sunday. So it's a lot easier to cut down a tire. Where is Jimmy? Score 24th here. So Jimmy might recover for a top 20. He might. Riggs still staying with Chandler Smith. Who's going to have the better, longer run truck? I don't know if Riggs is going to fall off the pace. I mean, maybe Chandler Smith can block Riggs enough to where Honeycutt could catch back up. But those two, I mean, they're running really well. Chandler's not pulling away from Riggs too far. Don't want a Toyota to win. I would like to see one of these front row trucks win. I really like Lane Riggs. I've said that multiple times for the last 2 years. I really like Lane Riggs. But it would be, fine. I wonder if they would make this diecast, this Hard Rock diecast, or if Hard Rock is going to be stingy about their logos being used. Because that would be a pretty sick diecast. I don't know if any people are big fans of Hard Rock Cafe anymore, but that would be a perfect collection piece to go with your shot glasses or your cups or your shirts, whatever. They are still very close. Five laps to go in today's race. Jimmy's still not in the top 20. Moved up a couple spots since we last checked. Within half a second of Jackson Lee. Frankie Muniz in the pits right now. How is that truck still functioning? How did they glue that thing together? It's not really night. Technically the evening, but... I don't see any lights. So Riggs a little further back than he has been. Now that's going to fluctuate depending on what part of the track they're in. There's still a long way to go in this race, distance-wise. Riggs shouldn't push it too hard and make a mistake here, because as long as he can stay a couple car lengths off the back of Chandler Smith, he could force a mistake. Honeycutt has fallen back from these top two, so Riggs doesn't have any pressure out the mirror. And then a giant gap back to Ty Majeski. Johnson back in the top 20 now. See if he can run down Mini Tyrell for 19th. I don't think a top 15 is really possible for Jimmy, given these current set of circumstances. Over the last lap, Chandler was able to stretch that gap by about another truck length. Good night, honey. Oh, no! Tyler Ankrum moved one of the walls over about 4 feet. Here we go. Another major restart. We clearly have two trucks that are class of the field. Teammates going to restart side by side. And Caden Honeycutt going to be here waiting in the wings in third. And this gives Jimmy Johnson a shot to move up, to maybe get a top 15. Here we have a late race restart. We might restart with 2 to go. It's going to take a bit for them to reset this barrier. They're going to have to get to work on that immediately. We could have a green-white checkered, or this could just have a green-white checkered, 2 laps to go. And hopping off at the tail end. All right, we'll see ya. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how those walls have moved. We typically don't see that. But it seems like this is a different system that we usually, than we usually see. It seems like the barriers do a good enough job of redirecting the cars, bouncing them back out onto the track. But if another car was to hit the barrier after, let's say one guy gets into the wall, guy behind him follows him, we see this a lot in road course racing. They'll judge off the car in front of them, and what ends up happening is both guys get into the wall at the same place. So if a second car hit the barricade at that steepened angle, that compromised angle, could a car break onto pit road? Yeah, this is... we haven't seen that really at the Chicago street course. But we are seeing it today. These stock cars are way heavier than your typical open wheel car. Well, it's going to be a long cleanup period. I'll step away one more time, and then maybe we'll get a replay. Go ahead and get that pulled up. See if we have a replay. Not of the last one. You have a replay of the Jimmy Johnson blowing the corner. I'll leave you guys with a replay of Caden Honeycutt knocking this tire barrier down here. Bam, then into the wall. Really lucky where he made contact. He could have destroyed the truck there. Gragson. It will be Noah Gragson. He is cursed at these street circuits. I'm wondering who Carson Hocevar hits first. I was thinking about running a poll for that. Who Carson Hocevar takes out first. Ricky Stenhouse was going to be one of the options. All right, so that was a look at what happened to Caden Honeycutt. This is Jimmy Johnson, him missing the corner the first time. And later, he would get together with Nathan Nicholson. Disappointing end of the day for, I wouldn't say end of the day, but disappointing turn of events for Jimmy Johnson, who had top 3 to top 2 pace all day. I think right now he would probably be riding about 3rd to 4th, considering how fast those 2 front row guys were. But he had been outrunning Chandler Smith, so who knows? Maybe they could have turned it around, and maybe Lane is actually losing the handle a bit. And we don't have a replay of Jimmy's second spin. And this is why we're under caution currently. Tyler Ankrum almost literally knocking down the wall. Right now, only figuratively knocking down the wall. You got me this time. You got me. I didn't move the chair or the mic out of the way. But that'll be the last time. The last time. The red flag is out. Ron Hornaday at the track. They're interviewing him currently. Might as well. Think about how sick we would look with a Darrell Waltrip helmet on right now. All the Rons, yeah, Ron Capps, Ron Hornaday. Do we have any others? Is Ronald Reagan there? Ronald McDonald? Ron there repping Landon Lewis. I don't know how many tickets they sold to today's race. I think this one was partially limited to military and their families. I've also seen posts from people that live near the track on Facebook that were complaining about the noise. They live next to an active naval base. How much louder can the cars be? They have fighter jets taking off every day, and they're complaining about this? Does Coronado even have a runway? Do they just use the carriers? Surely the cargo planes have runways, right? Let's look up a satellite image. We're under red flag coverage, so we're making up our own stuff now. So we have the naval base. Yeah, they do have a couple pretty long runways. Yeah, really low res footage here. Or not footage, but imagery. I was trying to zoom in on the hangars that they race past, but the imagery is not great. Move this over here. And I can pull this up for you guys. This is what I'm looking at. Couple runways. So these people live right next to a runway. Right next to 2 active runways. One goes over, part of this island here. This little isthmus, whatever you would call this body of land. And they're complaining about the cars. Are you serious? That's pretty wild. Look at that bad boy. Is that a C-17? Just scoping this place out. Looks like this might be a POV storage. Doesn't seem like that's a lot. How uniform it is. Thinking that's probably POV storage. Where you can lock up your vehicles when you're deployed. Maybe it's parking, but that seems to me like the big fence, how they're lined up, that seems like storage. Getting a good look at the whole naval base here. Then you have like the civilian side. See the residents here. These are the people that were on Facebook complaining about the noise when they live right next to 2 active runways. I do not understand their concern. That's what the memorial looks like, their Vietnam memorial. Very nice. Have a few boats there. In memory of the 350 plus sailors still on patrol. Neat. That's a little look from the, from the sky. Satellite footage. Could they have redesigned 16? I would have to look at a track overlay and see what we're working with. Missed the finish? Oh, nobody. The race is not over. Move next to an airport and complain about noise. Yeah. It's actually ridiculous. I live not too far off the path that planes land at our airport. So especially when there's cloud cover, it sounds like the airliner's about to just crash into the apartment. It's like, my goodness, I'm looking, I'm getting ready to duck real quick in case it goes overhead. Jimmy's stopped on track. That's not gonna help. See if Jimmy can get a push here and get back going. That's the danger. That's why we can't park the cars for caution periods at the tracks here or on other road courses, because you run the risk of having guys not being able to fire back off. It's a flip of the coin whether or not it's going to start back up. Let me see. I don't know, 16, there's not a ton of room to work with. Maybe they could have widened it out or shallowed it out a bit. I'm not sure exactly what change they would need to make. But, like, is kind of a good thing to have difficult parts of the track. Maybe there are some changes they could have made to improve the flow of racing. I think they did a pretty good job of not having this course be a ton of 90-degree angles. You see a lot of street circuits that come out, some, you know, new designs, and it's like a ton of 90-degree angles because when you're racing on streets, a lot of the turns you're going to deal with are 90-degree angles, you know, just intersections. And it creates very uninspired racing that doesn't really have a lot of flow to it. They did a pretty good job of avoiding that here, where the turns aren't extremely sharp. You still do have a few that are, you know, near 90 degrees. But it's not terrible. Could there be a good street course in Denver? Depends on the altitude. Like, that's gonna immediately hurt horsepower. But, I'm sure there's room to work with, especially around the football stadium. You could just do another parking lot race. Arlington was a really good race. I don't know how it would go with stock cars, but for the Indy guys, that Arlington race was really cool. That track had a ton of speed. Jason said he had to retrain an associate today. Her name was Karen. Do you really have to train a Karen? What an unfortunate name. I mean, if we moved a lot of these, if we just got rid of all the walls, nobody would hit the wall. You know what I'm saying? You know, depending on how tomorrow's race goes, I wouldn't be shocked if NASCAR adjusts that a little bit. You know, NASCAR, they occasionally change things up, you know, last second. So Chandler Smith to the lead. Caden Honeycutt. Oh, in the out. Looks like Caden Honeycutt got into the wall there. That's going to open the door up for Lane Riggs again. Honeycutt was... okay, Honeycutt's still in second here. Ben Rhodes going to get into the tire barrier a bit. Wash up back in front of the track. That's going to stack up guys behind them. Multiple cars involved. Nathan Nicholson involved. 44 involved. That's... I don't know. That could be another caution. We could have another restart coming. Caden Honeycutt is closing in on Chandler Smith after knocking down the wall. Caden Honeycutt back in it, and Lane Riggs, who was our strongest truck, not in the running right now. My watch was saying my heart rate was 105. That's funny. That was taken at 9 p.m. 6 minutes ago. It's not during racing. Caution is out. Now, what does this do for the fuel numbers of some of these guys? Does Lane Riggs have enough to make? I mean, I know we've run several caution laps, but we are way over our fuel number if we run to 53. Remember when Cart did a street course in Houston a long time ago? You could do an endurance race in Houston. I know you can't shut down all the streets of Houston, but you could run the bypass. That would be, I mean, that would be a 10-lap race right there. That would be awesome. Think of a city. You could probably do a good enough one. I don't think you would do a street course in Indianapolis, but, you know, because of the historic track that's already there and IRP existing. I mean, I would like to play it, but he doesn't have to buy it. Like, if we're going to eventually play it, then I don't want to just play it with you when we could all three play. Because then, like, both of us would know what's happening, and it would be unfair to him. Whereas when it's all three of us, I can just kind of watch you guys struggle for a bit. You're kidding. Are you serious? That would be a crazy name. Naptown. Like Circle City 250 would have been sick if it was around the Circle City Mall. Especially if part of the track was around that Veterans Memorial that's downtown. You know the one I'm talking about. There's actually a candy store not too far from that, and they have a bunch of sodas. They have like mayonnaise flavored soda, bacon flavored soda, all this different stuff. Monument Circle. I was thinking Naptown. I'm like, that doesn't sound exciting. Sounds like people would make fun of that. But then it kind of makes sense. Indianapolis, Naptown. Don't know who it was, but on the restart, heading into turn 2, someone mid-pack had smoke coming out the pipes like they were possibly starting to have motor issues. No clue. I've been to that monument a couple times. They were in the middle of, I think, some kind of renovations the last time I was there. So last year. I've driven by it several times, and I've visited it a couple times in person, like walking up to it. Really cool looking area. Cup Series street course in Vermont. Where would you even do it? Imagine an actual throwback. They do a street course or a road course or whatever you want to call it through the hills of like North Carolina. Be pretty wild. A throwback to the moonshiner days. We're under caution again. Several guys involved in that one. I don't think we'll have a replay posted yet, but I'll go ahead and check. We do actually have a replay posted. They did a great job on this one. Let's take a look at the replay. Nathan Nicholson involved. I don't know if Jimmy ever got back on a track, but if he did, that's going to benefit him. Not much. So this is kind of where it all started. That was a stack up from near the front of the field. Everybody behind just kind of piled in, unfortunately. Look at that. Fox did a great job uploading this highlight. You know, sometimes it takes him 15 minutes to upload one. This one didn't take too long. Really? That's a wild story, Jason. I don't have an uncle named Jerry, but I have a person in my family named Jerry, and he's referred to as Uncle Jerry. So, interesting. I wonder how common that is. Go to Daytona Beach for a half sand, half asphalt race. It would be really fun to do that in... you could do a small scale version of that. Just do a half mile. So half mile on sand, half mile on asphalt, and do it with late models. That would be fun. You could do that before... Let's say we go back to Daytona for the July 4th weekend race. Do that like the night before or whatever. At some point in the weekend. You can give the other series the night off. Oh, I don't remember that character's name at all, Rusty. I know who you're talking about. That would be funny if that is his name, because I never would have connected the dots. Good heritage there. I kind of have the same thing going on, too. With my middle name. Been several generations of that. And I have a cousin who's actually, that's just their first name. So Lane Riggs, they're talking over the radio. They are worried about his fuel issues. You know, they had enough to make it to 50. But now we've run over that distance. We could see a stack up here because someone running out of fuel. We could see that. Wouldn't that be something? 2-lap shootout. In NASCAR overtime. Yeah, that creepy guy with the hand from It's Always Sunny. You know, he's the guy. Is the lawyer, or former lawyer. I thought he was always funny, pretty well casted. Jason says, funny story, when he first became a learning ambassador for Amazon, he trained 2 associates, and their name was Tom and Jerry. That's a wild combo. Munis in the lead lap. It's insane that truck's still running. That thing was peeled apart like a tuna can. All right, we have them stacked back up. running order is all messed up. Poor Jimmy. 3 laps off the pace. He's off track currently. Not a great way to end his day. Man, that's so disappointing. He had top 5 pace. All the Ryumi trucks are still on the lead lap. Not bad. Kligerman barely holding on to a top 20 right now. It's always funny to me to watch how much bigger the pace truck is compared to the field. Trucks are just so huge nowadays. All right. Already contact before the restart zone. Side by side, Honeycutt to the lead. We've seen Honeycutt. Oh no, Chandler Smith around. Can he get it refired? He will. We're not covering the race. We have no clue what's happening at the front of the pack because we're just staring at Chandler Smith for 30 seconds. Terrible coverage from Fox. Somehow Daniel Hemrick has the lead. We missed this because Fox doesn't know how to cover a race. Oh my goodness. It would be awesome if you were able to meet Frankie. I know you've met tons of other drivers already. So Lane Riggs once again battling. What happened to Honeycutt? We have no idea what happened at the front of the pack because Fox just sucks at their job. You have one job. It's to keep the cameras on the cars. And you can't even do that. They also haven't shown us a replay of what happened. Can Hemrick steal this win away? Oh no! My broadcast is cutting out. Now we have 2 Chevys side by side at the front of the pack. They're all over each other. Lane Riggs looking for a way around. He may make this 3 wide at some point. Can Tyler Rives steal this one away? He's had an impressive day. Oh no, the 2 Chevys are getting together. Somehow they save it. And they're actually going to sort things out. Oh my goodness. I think Hemrick had Rife hooked there and they somehow survived. 1 lap to go, brought to you by Credit One Bank. Lane Riggs to the inside there of Hemrick. Can Lane Riggs run down our leader? And can the leader even make it back around? That truck is smoking intensely. Think he may cut down the left rear here. That could open the door up for Riggs. And can Riggs even get back or will he run out of fuel? We know Lane Riggs has had the truck to beat for most of the day, but my goodness, it's going to come down to these 2. If the 2 Chevys could have just cooperated, they could have kept Lane Riggs in 3rd and settled it between themselves. But they got greedy. Kaz Gralla in 4th. How about that? Good to see him running well. Justin Haley in the top 10. Minnie Tyrell and the Brendan Queen up there. Wow. So 3 Rams up there. Corey LaJoy and Jamie nowhere to be found. I hope the 42 gets it, but that left front is, or that left rear is smoking like crazy. Lane may save this One bump, and he can get by. Tyler's doing a great job, though. Running a really defensive line. Lane's going to close it in here. Really close there. Widest part of the track here. What are we doing with the camera angles here? Fox is just a joke. Oh no. Tyler missed the chicane. And Lane Riggs is going to use him up there on the exit of the turn. Lane Riggs wins the race. I mean, good for Lane Riggs, but that was a really fun run to the end to be ruined by bad coverage by Fox. Fox sucks so much. What a shame that our first naval-based race of the weekend was ruined by Fox's coverage. What even happened to Honeycutt? 22nd. I also don't know what happened to Rife there. Did he just missed the corner? Just missed the corner. Man, I was hoping Rife would win it, but I'm okay with Lane Riggs winning. It's just that almost went perfect for Rife. Still going to finish for the top 10. But my goodness, Fox was just ticking me off there. Why did they keep the camera on Chandler Smith for 30 seconds? We missed half of that first lap of the restart. No clue what, Honeycutt had the lead. That's the last thing we saw is Honeycutt with the lead. And we get back to it. Honeycutt's nowhere to be found. Daniel Hemrick is leading. Lane Riggs is pressuring. We have no clue what happened on that restart because Fox doesn't know how to cover a race. Oh, are we going to finally see it here? They're finally going to catch us up on what happened? Oh, Honeycutt got in the wall pretty hard. That's what happened to him. Spoilers bent off. Also, I don't know if this is happening to everyone, but my broadcast keeps cutting out. I'm watching on YouTube TV, and the broadcast just glitches out every now and then. Man. Well, what a entertaining race. It was still fun. Yeah, it's I don't know. Fox's coverage ticks me off. They never fail to disappoint. From what I heard from the last lap call, it was horrible. Like, Jamie's great. She's great on pit road as a pit reporter. Does a great job. She's done a great job for years, but she should not be calling a race as the play-by-play. And what a wild race. Frankie top 20. Parker top 20. Good to see that. I was hoping he'd run a bit better. The Ram guys running as well as they did was shocking to me. Justin Haley, 6th. He was kind of running mid-pack all day, and Minnie Tyrell at times was down here near 30th or around 30th. He recovers well. Chandler Smith and Caden Honeycutt did not finish where they were running for sure. Jimmy had pace to be running top 5. Disappointing how his day ended. So this race was up and down. You know, really didn't know who was going to win. Riggs had the best truck early in the race, but it looked like Chandler Smith and maybe Caden Honeycutt both surpassed him. But those two took each other out, and Lane Riggs was there to capitalize. Hemrick and Rive were running side by side. They could have settled this race between each other. They got greedy one lap too early and ended up costing both of them a chance at the win. And Lane Riggs, the guy who dominated the first 2 stages, really, fastest truck on track for the first 2 stages, ended up getting the win. So good for that team. And I'll see you guys here tomorrow for the O'Reilly race. But until then, hope you guys have a good one. Until next time, don't die.